Hello and welcome to KID-AFANdiscoveries with me, Justice A.M. Tijan, and this na your program Salonediscoveries. Every Thursday we can come na you building na the Ministry of Information and Communication. Usai every Thursday they can update the public with informations we can come out from ministry, departments and agencies. Well, today we come again na the Ministry of Information for come follow a press briefing updates we get for come out from certain ministry, departments and agency.
Nancy, and before you, the Acting Director of Information, Mr. Toure, for doing the preliminaries on this. And on behalf of Minister Soare and the Ministry, I want to welcome all of you for coming, friends from the 4th Estate, and also our distinguished representatives from the Women's Premier League Board, and also the Smallholder Commercialization and Agribusiness Development Project. In the persons of Genesee Maturi, Secretary of the Women's Premier League Board, and my dear friend and brother Abraham Kalsamura, the quintessential communications officer for the Smallholder Communications Project. As we all know, the two issues that will be the subject matter of today's press briefing are very key and pivotal in talking about Sierra Leone's development landscape, efforts government has made, especially in the dispensation of President Julius Maada Bio since the administration came in 2018. So on the part of the Women's Premier League Board, as Nancy has intimated, this is happening for the first time, and it pleased His Excellency the President to do the official launch in Makeni. And I'm reliably informed, following the official launch, we had the first set of matches played. So I think all of us as Sierra Leoneans will feel immensely proud that this is happening, and happening especially under the watch of His Excellency the President. And this is key and important within the grand scheme of things. First, we have seen the resuscitation of Premier League football in the country. We have seen Sierra Leone go back to Nations Cup after 25, 26 years. And now we are seeing a first of its kind elevation of women's football in the category of the Women's Premier League, and we can only wish them well. So to share with us key highlights within this, what Sierra Leoneans should be expecting, we are pleased to have Genesee Maturi, who will be speaking to this shortly. And also agriculture is very important. We all we need food, and we should not just be talking about food self-sufficiency for Sierra Leone, but also talking about exports so that that important sector contributes to the country's gross domestic product. We believe as a government, as much as every other citizen, that it's quite intolerable that government expends in excess of $200 million US just for rice import. To cushion the effect and to make sure that this critical commodity is available and affordable, government has, as a primordial responsibility, eliminated GST and import duty on rice. So we don't have any import duty, we don't have any GST on rice import. We also see, with respect to other commodities like building materials, we've also seen that happening. So it's important that we talk about this, and also the role that technology plays. And I think that's why Abraham Kalsamura is here, because His Excellency the President has recently launched the IVR. And we believe that with digital technology, it should be able to, that should revolutionize food production in Sierra Leone. Farmers, agriculturists, agricultural entrepreneurs that have employed technology, including digital technology, are way ahead in the agricultural value chain. So we believe that this should be able to add tremendous value to how we do agriculture business in Sierra Leone, enhance our yield, help provide food self-sufficiency, but also help in exporting so that it helps to generate foreign exchange for our country.
Firstly, let me start by just letting you know a little bit about the project. You may have heard about the Smallholder Commercialization and the Business Development Project. It's a project under the Ministry of Agriculture that came into being since 2017. And the objective of that project is to enhance agricultural productivity through creating market linkages and access to finance for farmers. And we operate along 5 components. Component A, under Component A, we give support to agribusiness farmer linkages and SMEs along agricultural value chains. Our selected agricultural value chains are rice, cocoa, oil palm, poultry, and recently we added onions to the list. Component B is market access improvement. We all know that it is quite difficult for farmers in the provinces when they harvest their crops to take such crops to their various markets. And when you talk about perishable commodities like vegetables, onions, pepper, things like that, it's a challenge when you don't take them to the market on time. So all of this came as a result of challenges that were identified. So the access to under the access market access improvement, we rehabilitate feeder roads. We do the rehabilitation of feeder roads, and to date we have rehabilitated about 300 kilometers of feeder roads around various districts in the country. And as I'm currently talking to you, we are also doing spot improvement. Spot improvement is the identification of key areas, very important areas, that link villages and towns. It will be culverts, it will be bridges. So once we identify them, as we have done, we try to construct them so that the necessary linkages will be there. Component C is capacity building, support to state and non-state actors. The SCADE project supports non-state actors. We also support the capacity building of state institutions. We work in collaboration with the Ministry of Works. When it comes to roads rehabilitation, we work with the Ministry of Trade. When we talk about promoting commerce within the agricultural sphere. And so
I want to reiterate the need. Mr. Carl has already explained exactly some of the functionality of this system. There was a gap during COVID-19 to which all of us in the room can attest to. Inter-district restrictions were given at a certain point in time. And 80% of our farmers in Sierra Leone are illiterate. And we need food every day. Commodities like pepper, onion, etc. During those times, we had hard times, importation were mitigated. So farming needs to continue. And farming can only happen when the farmer actually knows optimal planting times of certain crops, weather information advisory system, geospatial information system, all integrated that will aid their farming practices. To enable this, the technology unit in which I'm heading over there came up with a proposal and planned it through the ministry's leadership and World Bank's SCADE, which they actually funded. Now at this inception time, I'm pleased to tell you that all of you, for instance, we've been working with Orange and AfriSouth, and the president himself on the 16th of this month launched by dialing 899. Once you call, you can take your phones out, for instance, and demonstrate that. You can dial 899 using Orange currently, AfriSouth. They are having little system issue which will come up during the day. You dial 899, it will allow you saying press 1 to interact with the system. Pressing 1 to interact with the system, you will have opportunity to listen to verified, customized extension content, which we are created alongside the best agricultural divisions and extension directorate of the ministry, in cognizance with the principles and practices of SCADE that will ensure we have optimal production at the end of the day. It will tell you, for instance, if you want to interact in Creole, press 1. If you want to do it in Mende, press 2. In Timnitri, in Limba, 4. Once you press any language, you will actually be able to interact with the system. Hence, your questions and fears will be answered. So let's take an example. You have maize. you've done your planting, and during groups, you see that, okay, the maize has started withering. You see some different coloration, which is actually different from the actual planting structure. So you may want to speak to our field extension workers, but they are not closer to you. What do you do? So to salvage this, you just need to call the 899. Calling the 899, you press, for instance, Limba or Timney. Once you press your own dialect, you press maize 1. You will now listen. When you see this type of coloration, this is how you solve it, this is how you do land preparation. So it's about bringing technology, or the very extension, which humans, we are not replacing humans, but making it more efficient in terms of crises like Ebola and COVID-19. We've learned from this, and we want to mitigate this and ensure that our planting continues to go on, because most of our farmers reside in the periphery of this country, far away from the city. So what they will be able to actually sort this out. Currently, let me tell you, during the launch, we've had 3,000 people already accessing this system.
The Sierra Leone Women's Premier League, this is the first time we've had an elite league take place in our country. Women's football has been on a down low for about 12 years now in this country. So the SLFA, in its efforts to develop the women's game, set us up and gave us the specific mandate, and that is to organize and run the first Women's Premier League in the country. There are 12 teams participating in this league. Before we were appointed, the teams had already been selected, and they come from various parts of the country. We have them from the following parts of the country. There are 4 teams in Freetown, and the rest of the teams come from Lunge, Cambia, Kabbalah, Kenema, Kailang, Koya, Bo, and Rutile. We paid regional visits to various parts of the country to meet with players, meet with club representatives, meet with parents of the players as well, because we feel it's very important for us to sensitize them on the women's game, because you know, with young players, there's a lot of there's the safety and security issues that we have to bear in mind. So we reached out to them, and we told them about the league and the format that it would take, so that they would know what to expect when they let their girls go out to play these matches across the country. We also organized training sessions for the match officials that would be helping us to run this league, coordinators, commissioners, referees, and so on. We've had the gracious support of His Excellency the President and the First Lady, for which we are immensely grateful. We've also had support from SLFA, of course, the Ministry of Sports, and also the NSA. We've had sponsors that have also helped us to reach this point. We have the Gento Group, we have Ramk Enterprises, we have Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, and also AfriCell. Last Saturday, on the 15th of October, we had the official opening and launch. The kickoff was taken by the Excellency and his wife, the First Lady. The 2 teams that played in the kickoff match were Mena Queens of Makeni, the host team, and Kaunla Queens. The scores were 1-0 in favor of Kaunla Queens. This coming weekend, we're going to have 6 matches. This is the format that we'll be playing. It will be 2 rounds, home and away. This first round we'll play up to 25th of December, will only be playing at the weekend. And this is to allow the school-going girls not to disrupt their school. So we're going to have, on Saturdays, we'll have 3 games, Sundays 3 games, 6 games in total every weekend. And this week we're going to have 3 games down here in Freetown and the rest across the country. Now, what are our expectations? As I mentioned earlier, women's football has not been very active in this country. So we're expecting with this league to attract more kids, female kids, to play football. We're also hoping that it will inspire girls to participate in sports, but also paying attention to their education, because it's not just about football. Football goes hand in hand with your education. If you're a player, you cannot just hope on being a player. If you don't make it, what do? You have to have something that you fall back on. So we've been encouraging that in our work. Other areas that we expect to see improvement is in general sports administration. We found during our preparations that, of course, most of the teams are owned by men. Very few of them are owned by women. Also, the club officials, most of them are men, and we're hoping that going forward we will have more women involved in the administration of these clubs. We hope to build on the skills of not just the players, but also the match officials that will be officiating these matches. In line with that, we will be trying to appoint match officials whereby, for example, the referees, we don't have that many experienced female referees. So what we're trying to do is, even if the referee is male, we'll pair them up so that the one can learn from the other. And in future, we are hoping that we will have, a national team eventually that we can be very proud of.
Today, inside the press briefing, we will get somebody will come out from the Ministry of Agriculture, and also we see the secretary will come out from Sierra Leone Female Premier League, where na a league where they about to kick off na the country. Well, you don't listen from them, you don't hear what's na the concerns and also the information where they want the public to know about. Me we bringing this program, me na Justice AMT, I want to say plenty thank you to my executive producer, Dr. Aissatou Kake Jalo, and also to my cameraman, Mohammed Sky Bangura.